So, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Living with Lex. Today, we're going to talk about investing in Macon, Georgia. So, we're going to talk about investing in Georgia. I know that's a big thing down here when you move further down south is the income. And the income can be a little smaller down here than it is in Atlanta. So, they pay less out here. Our biggest industries in Macon, Georgia is aerospace, food processing, advanced manufacturing, warehouse and distribution, and automotive. So we do, from personal experience, there's a lot of automotive shops and dealerships down here. So I see that a lot. If I'm being honest, a lot of people who start their own business in automotive, I'm seeing their businesses are no longer open. I don't know if there was a situation where they hit some type of financial crisis and couldn't afford to keep up with the business or what. But I do see a lot of shut down auto shops. So that's something to keep in mind. So even though it is the biggest industry here, from observation, that's just what I'm seeing. There is no indication that it is true, just what I've been seeing. As far as food processing, I have been seeing a lot of big, what are those buildings? Those manufacturing buildings where they process food and stuff like that. I've been seeing that around. So this stuff kind of hints at the things that I've already kind of seen since I've been down here. I've been all over Macon. I haven't really touched 31206 that often, but I have been up and around that area as well looking for real estate. So some of the independent contracting work that you can possibly do out here, because I just want to give you some options when you come out here so that you're not feeling like, I need a job. I need to see what jobs are available out here. If I'm going to be straightforward, there's a few things that you can get into that Macon either needs or Macon doesn't need, but you can provide. So the first thing is independent contracting work, construction. So the Blight program, they're knocking down a lot of houses. There's a lot of lots for sale. We're going to talk about the auction soon, but there's a lot of clearing. These houses are old. Some of them weren't that well maintained, so they're falling apart. So if you're into demolition, renovation, or construction, and you're an independent contractor, you might do well out here. Any of the trades, you might do well out here. But definitely if you're in the realm of construction, like a general contractor, an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC specialist, Macon is developing, and they're developing pretty fast. So that's one thing that you can do when you get out here. Landscape and tree services. That's the next thing you can do if you want to be an independent contractor and come out here. Again, how the velocity as to which you prefer to work hard and put yourself out there and do everything that needs to be done to make yourself productive as far as like pushing your business. Owning a business is not easy. This is coming from someone who was raised by two parents who both owned a business or still owns a business. My dad is an electrician and my mom is a business consultant. So I was raised in the environment of business owning, and that stuff is not easy. You are literally a walking ad. So there's that. Landscape and tree services, I can see that being something that is needed out here. There are a lot of trees that go down. They're also clearing land so that they can build more out here. And because the population is a little older around here, a lot of older people can't really get out there and do the things that need to be done as far as like maintenance outside. So, your landscaping services may be needed. So I can see that. When I'm driving around my neighborhood in specific, I'm just going to give you personal account and what I've been seeing online, because I think that's very important for people to provide both. With my personal, opinion, I've been driving around and I see all the time, I see a landscaping truck outside. Every week I see 2, 3, 4 outside, maintaining lawns, cutting off branches, clearing land, cutting down trees. Every time I go down my block, I see someone outside doing some maintenance on someone else's yard. There's that. So there's that. Then the next thing that might thrive out here, which I did talk a little bit about age, as far as like there being a higher age group of people out here, is elderly or disability services. So if you are someone, because I'm not going to say what it is, but you can catch the cues, because I come from a business consultant background, baby. If you can offer some type of services where you do sit down with certain people in certain households, figure out what it is that they need and provide those things to those people, that can be helpful. Or if you have some type of rehabilitation centers, elderly homes, or homes where elderly people can stay, that's cheaper than staying in, their house and paying a mortgage, and just things to help the elderly community, because the people out here are a little older. So, the older you get, not saying that that's everybody's situation, but, sometimes you just want to enjoy your retirement. So there's that, offering those services, as well as disability. You guys already know my journey with autism, and there's not a lot of services out here as far as ABA specialists and speech therapists. They have a backup of almost a year, which means that is an open opportunity for you to get some of those clients that are not able to get in immediately. And as long as you can offer good customer service, have good ratings on Google, you should thrive. So that's another thing. The other independent contracting option is real estate. Now, because there's so many different facets of real estate, the industry of real estate, I'm gonna be honest, it really doesn't matter. Selling houses, buying houses, developing real estate, investing in real estate, all of those will work. And we'll get into further details with that later, because it's such a big, jam-packed option. So, and I'm all in it. So the next thing is what Macon needs. We kind of talked about that when we talked about independent contractors, but just to be a little more specific, and talk more about not job specific, but if you're into like starting businesses, because not everybody wants to work, or not everybody wants to be an independent contractor. I work, so I'm not saying that there's a bad thing to work, but I'm just saying that most people, not most people, but some people would prefer to own a business. I do both. So I don't care. I like getting a consistent paycheck. I like not having that much responsibility, just doing my job, getting a check, and going home. That's the type of life I like. I've already seen the other side. I'm already sort of dabbled into the other side, so I'm not concerned about what I could be missing. The first thing that it looks like Macon may need is more social spaces. I am aware that if you live downtown, there's a lot of bars and things like that, a lot of eateries, but it's like concentrated in one part of Macon. Just because there's a lot of families out here does not mean the adults don't want to go out and go to a nice little social gathering, like a karaoke bar or something like that. It'll be nice. And being as though a lot of people meet in public spaces to get to know each other, I think that'll be nice. Another thing is Macon needs more jobs, if I'm going to be honest, and not just more jobs, but more good, better paying jobs. There's not a lot of jobs out here. When I was job searching, because I was trying to see if I can just get a job around the corner, maybe for a second job. There's not a lot of jobs out here, if I'm being honest. It's a little rough out here. So if the job market is rough in Atlanta, imagine how it is in Macon, Georgia. Better pay. So yeah, I already said that. Not only do we need jobs, but we also need better pay. So if you are a business owner and you plan to come out here, I hope that you're able to offer some type of positions for people to work. I want to get into that further, but let me just finish this list. More creative food choices. Yeah, I think that's self-explanatory. Again, I made a video about the food in Georgia. I think I lumped it in with my update in Macon, Georgia. And I've had a lot of good experiences, if I'm being honest. But if I'm going to be completely transparent, the food options in Lawrenceville was a whole lot better than they are down here. And maybe because I haven't went out yet and dibbled and dabbled into different places, but I don't know. It's not like a clear-cut thing with down here. It's not the promotion and the advertisement of certain places. It's not as prevalent as it was in Lawrenceville. But you'll see Cercheros all over a Kroger's receipt. So maybe it's a good Mexican spot, but I would like to have more options. There's not a lot of ramen out here. I like ramen. There's only one spot that has burrito tacos. They're pretty good, but I like to have different options to compare it to. What else? Oh man, it was one other thing that I felt like I haven't really found the best yet. I haven't tried Ingleside Village Pizza. Please don't come at me, but I haven't tried that either. I haven't found a good burger spot besides Five Guys. Not everybody has the same taste, so take that as you will. So I mean, like, you know, there's like this void of, I don't know, there's a void in like good food out here, if I'm going to be completely honest. And if I'm going to be completely honest, the soul food out here, I might have to dig a little deeper, go to different neighborhoods and see what I can find. But I have not been able to find good soul food out here. So that's something that you can also bring to the neighborhood. All right. So next up, I wish there was more neighborhood cleanup crews and community services. I think the city should hire some more people, especially in those poverty-stricken areas. Just because it's poverty-stricken does not mean it does not deserve to be cleaned. I drive in those areas and I see trash everywhere. And I don't think it's fair, especially for the public spaces. Please, clean up the trash. And if you're a business owner, like, I don't know, Chick-fil-A, and you notice that some of your Chick-fil-A trash is at other people's establishments, maybe you should hire somebody to clean up that too. But I mean, I guess it's not their fault. It's the customer's fault, but don't litter. I don't know. It's just nasty to see like trash all over the place. It ruins a nice landscape. You know, there's a difference between seeing trees and overbrush and just being excited about it, and then seeing a bunch of trash just randomly, beds thrown into lots and stuff. Macon City, you need to have more jobs available, especially city government jobs, and maybe give people in poverty an opportunity to work for those city jobs. Even if you're, you know, using some correctional services, and pay them decently to do the job, to clean up. Because I know in Gwinnett County they had correctional facilities go out on a bus. I'm assuming they're low security. Go out on a bus and clean up some of the public areas to make it look nice. And I think the more you clean up, the more people will want to be out here. If I'm driving around and I see trash, I'm going to feel away. I'm sorry. If you want to attract more people to those spaces where you're blighting and knocking down homes, you're going to want to bring, you know, people back to those areas, or else you will suffer. Anyway, keep your neighborhood clean. Bibb County. And then sports / academic third-party options. What I mean by that is they had an I-9 sports team that was easy to utilize and sign up for. I had my kids in basketball and stuff like that in Gwinnett County. Even as low as, I think, Stockbridge and McDonough also have that as well. But in Macon, it's very complicated. I think that you guys need to update some of your services, like offering ways to enter applications online. For people out there who have a business, you're an independent contractor, you could offer services. I don't know if you know this or not, but you could offer, if you are a website developer or designer or a program or software designer or engineer. I'm not sure what realm of work this fits in, but you could send a proposal for application submissions online. I don't know why we have to call and go up to buildings in 2025. I don't want to go up to or call the Macon Swim Club or the Macon Soccer Club to see if there's an availability and when's your opening, and y'all don't send anything out. Y'all don't post anything on billboards or online or post anything in stores, so no one ever knows. And then we don't know prices. The website is very bland. There's nowhere to apply it or submit an application for anything down here. It's very inconvenient. We don't do things like that anymore, and hopefully someone will come down here with the skills and the mobility and willing to change and adhere to the current generation to provide those services. So yeah, I mean, it may cost more to do those things, but I would rather it cost more than for it to be so inconvenient, because I have to take time out my day to go all the way up somewhere. Granted, I mean, I'll be going up there every day or every other day once the child gets into the program, but I just don't feel it's necessary that I have to go up there and apply. I feel like all the information should be in front of me, and I should be able to make a decision right then and there. And I should be able to submit an application. If you need anything else, you should be able to call me or contact me for any further information. So yeah, I wish things were like that. To put my son into swim class, I had to call, then they told me it was open and when they open, and then I had to call back and make a payment over the phone, and it's, you know, and then I didn't really have a lot of details. I mean, they send you emails, but it's like, okay. So yeah, there's that. In academics, as far as like, you know, when I was in Gwinnett County, and I like that I was in Gwinnett County and then moved down here, and I'm going to be completely transparent, I might move back if things don't update out here, because I'm getting a little irritated. They had coding classes and summer courses and 6 weeks this and 6 weeks that. Even the community centers offered things for free, like kids, you know, things for kids to do in a local neighborhood, things to do for free. I don't see that a lot out here where I'm at. I could be wrong. If you have lived here before, or you are, you know, you work down in the government of Macon, please just comment and tell me if I'm missing something. But I don't see, it's like for trick or treat, there's not a lot of like, you know, community things going on where it's like you get zoned, you know, the zones of each area, and then that zone sends out an email to everybody in that local area and lets them know, hey, the community, we're doing build a snowman this week. Everybody come together to the community center and let's build a snowman. And the community centers are usually located near the playgrounds. Also, where I'm at, there's not a lot of playgrounds. Macon probably does have a lot of playgrounds, but I don't see them that often. I'm not sure why. So that's another opportunity. We already talked about more disability resources. So I'm not even going to go. I have a whole video talking about that. More investors and or first-time home buyers. Investors, in my opinion, are needed. I don't mean to roll my eyes, because I'm an investor as well, but I do understand the positives and negatives of investors coming in. They could possibly come in, buy up all the realty, then overcharge people for rent. So there's that. I've had issues with investors as an investor trying to purchase property because they overcharge for properties. They're very, I don't know. I don't. If you're a real estate agent and you have sold properties in Macon, go ahead and comment your experience. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, we need a lot of first-time home buyers as well. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Macon is a pretty family-friendly place. If you're already married, you're settled down, you got a nice little remote job, I think Macon is it. I think Macon is it. Or you have an independent contract and you are fulfilling that contract and it's in Macon. By all means, I think you have a really good setup. There's not a lot of homeschool support or and resources. So that's another thing that Macon needs is more homeschooling support. Yeah. I don't want to go any further with that, but as soon as you think about homeschooling, there's not going to be a lot of groups, and they are very cliquish down here. So yeah, there needs to be some type of like organization, local organizations. Maybe I'll join a church and see what's going on there. Local organizations that's working together to offer, group sessions with different homeschooling parents so that, all the parents can do things together, have little trips and things like that to the museums and all that. So I haven't really seen a lot of that. Again, I've only been down here for a couple of years, so maybe a year and some change. So I'm not really sure if there's anything out there. I'll keep looking. What is the best way to integrate into Macon, Georgia financially? Like I said, a secure remote job or contract, lucrative retirement income, about $3,000 a month or more per person. And then own a business. Another option is own a business that is in the realm of the major industries and independent contract work above, which I've already talked about the industries and things that you can do as far as like owning a business and, offering something down here. You should aim to remain and enforce rural living. The more we are going through a financial crisis. Okay. The cost of living down here is cheap. The reason being is because Macon is not there. It's not there yet. It's not what you think it is. If you have an option between McDonough and Macon, if you have the money, choose McDonough. McDonough's more expensive than Macon, but it's cheaper than Atlanta. So you got that middle ground. There's more entertainment. There's more going on in McDonough. If you feel like you're in a situation where you need things to be way cheaper than what it is, and you come out to Macon, be prepared to be rural. The more rural you go, the cheaper things get. But you are trading something off when you go further out. So make sure that you're covering all your bases when you go further out from Atlanta or Augusta or Savannah, any major city in Georgia. I know like most people already know this, but just check internet services and things like that. Your closest Walmart or major big box stores, and you should be fine. And if you understand the industries where you're moving to, because you can go anywhere, you should be fine. Another city that I don't quite mention often that I think is pretty good for somewhat affordable rural, if you can find a decent area within that city, Columbus, Georgia. I haven't said anything about Columbus, Georgia. I'm saying it now. All right. So, we did purchase tax lien property. That is why we moved out here. We moved out here to get our foot in with real estate development and investments, because it's cheaper to invest down here than it is to invest in Atlanta. I do not have $400,000 in cash to buy no house. So I bought my behind down to Macon, Georgia, where I felt like I can get my foot in. Now, let's talk about this. We were able to purchase the tax lien properties because we sold our home in Lawrenceville. When we sold our home in Lawrenceville, we made a decent amount of money because we stayed in Lawrenceville for about 2 to 3 years, which means we allowed that equity to build. The boom in the housing market, which doubled the price of the homes, we walked away with a nice lucrative amount of money. Okay? This is why I always preach home ownership I know a lot of people come on this internet and they say about their bad experiences, but a lot of people don't do their own research. They don't understand how a house is built. They don't understand the financing aspect of everything. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to look for a proper house. So this is why I have these videos up. I have videos on how to buy or how to find a home in a good neighborhood and things like that. I'm putting these videos up to help because there are people out there who do not understand, and they end up buying a house that's trash or buying a house in a trashy neighborhood, and they think that that's what home ownership is about. Yes, home ownership does require some maintenance, and you will have to have extra money and savings to be able to push out when things happen. So I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but what I'm also saying is you have to do a lot of research. I don't want to be the bad guy, but ignore your real estate agent because all they want to do is try to sell you something. I don't care how nice you are, how clicked up you are, if y'all grew up together. Their job is to sell a house, okay? Your job is to buy a house. And if you are buying this house on a 30-year, 15-year mortgage, I think it is responsible that you cover all bases. And I'm going to be another level honest with you, another level, because when I started buying houses, I didn't know this either. And I wish I understood. But because my mom was already a homeowner at some point, I kind of gotten the understanding of it. My dad is an electrician. He does contracting work and things like that. So I kind of already had my feet wet getting into this. You need to understand, I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch, how a house is built. I know it's boring. I know. Once you understand how a house is properly built, which should and shouldn't be there, it's 2025. Inspectors are posting TikToks like crazy on what they're finding in these houses. There should be no reason why you don't know what you're looking at. Foundation is important. Major systems is important. You should be able to look at a roof and tell whether or not it's old. So again, don't rush the process. Take your time. Do not buy a house under stress. Do not. That is the biggest mistake you will ever make. I don't care if you got 30 days left on your pre-approval. Do not do it. Don't rush. Do not rush. If it's not right, if they're not coming to the price, down to the price that you want them to come down to, don't do it. Check the local sites, check the county sites, look at the assessments through the city. It should be close to that amount. If they're putting it on the listing on the MLS, it should somewhat be close to that assessment. It shouldn't be 100,000, 200,000 more than that. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't be 50% more, 75% more than that. And that's another red flag, that if a house is newly renovated and the assessment is low, you got some red flags there. Either they're trying to freeze so they don't have to pay a lot of taxes and they're older. That's something that I've ran into. Older people can get exemptions to not pay high taxes, so they get low assessments. Or they're not getting permits when they do these renovations. So just be careful. Just be careful. I'm sorry, but I just had to say it. Because it's going viral that people are talking about how bad home ownership is and how I regret buying a house. And everybody's experience is not the same. Yes, I've bought houses, but I'm going to tell you what, when I rented, and I was renting in Philadelphia, so I'm going to keep it real. When I rented, we had our child got lead poisoning because the owner of the home that we rented from lied to us, gave us a certificate that the house was lead free. And that should have been our first red flag because we never had a certificate that the house was lead free. But we thought that was a plus. Our child was 6 months. We had to go to court. Our child tested high levels of lead. His mental is affected for the rest of his life because of that. There are people living in houses right now that's covered in mold. Their children have asthma and bad lungs and bad systems because these people don't fix these properties. There's people right now living in apartments that they rent out where roaches are everywhere, and no matter what they do and how many times these companies come and spray, they keep seeing these roaches crawling in their face, crawling up their bodies, in their food. So I'm gonna keep it real with you. Yeah, you can call the maintenance person to fix the issue, but are they going to fix it? How many times have you been in a situation where you rented an apartment and had to fix something yourself and then try to get the money back from the landlord? Let's be real. So I'm gonna shut that down too. I say renting and owning is based on your circumstances. That's it. I don't think one is better than the other. Okay. So we sold our home in Lawrenceville. We made a lucrative amount of money from that. Then we visited and registered, and we visited the site. It was www.maconbibtax.us/tax-sales.html. I'm going to put this website in the description below so that you can click on it and you can see what to do. But basically you can register. The list is also there too, and some of the dates are there too. Now, there are two different types of sales. There is the REM, the Judicial Tax Redemption Sale, or REM sale, or whatever. It's called the Judicial Tax REM sale. And then the other one is the Land Bank Authority sale, LBA. Those are two different types of sales. So the Judicial Tax REM sale is the initial sale, if I'm not mistaken. Whatever properties are not sold or no one bids on those properties at the tax REM sale, the Judicial Tax REM sale, the Land Bank Authority automatically purchases those homes. When you go to the Land Bank Authority sales, the Land Bank Authorities, all the properties start at $3,000. As of today, January 12th, 2025, that can change at any time. They have one coming up in March. The ones that are part of the Judicial REM tax sale, those ones are different prices. They range in all amounts. So it just depends on what they need in order to satisfy the debt. So those are the differences. There's two different ones. We bought our properties through, if I'm not mistaken, we bought our properties through the Judicial REM tax sale. That's where we got our properties. But yes, that's the two different ones. So I didn't know that, and I'm just telling you because I didn't know. Okay. Once we got the list off of the website for the Judicial Tax REM sale, not the Land Bank Authority, the Judicial Tax REM sale, we went to the Land Bank Authority auctions too. How it works is the first thing. Okay, let me go back. The first thing we did was research the property. So they give you a list. You look up all the properties. Okay, I started doing research. You can also hire somebody to like see if it's clear, like a title person to see if it's clear, see if the title's clear on the deed. We didn't do that. I'm just gonna be real. We should have. Bad people, but we didn't. We took a chance. I think they charge like $500 or $1,000. It's not that expensive. It's definitely worth getting that security. So I definitely advise you do it if you have the extra money. We had it. I don't know. We got a lot going on. So we just was like, forget it. But we did the research. We drove past the house a few times. We did as much research as we can on the property, and if it has any liens, we looked into the public records and things like that to see as much as we could see, and then we left it at that. And then once we went to those three properties, once we went to those properties 3 times, we came up with a plan for the selected areas or the selected properties that we picked. Then we went to the bid. We went to the auction. Okay, so how it works is you stand outside this circle in this abandoned train station. So it used to be a train station, but it's not a train station no more. It's like an abandoned building that they turned into like a little auction place where you go to. It's downtown. I think it's like 100 Willie Smokes something. And it's downtown. You go there and it's like this abandoned looking building, and you go in and it's like a circle in the middle, and the county is standing in the middle. Whoever, I think the mayor, or not the mayor, I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Somebody stands in the front and calls out the properties. And if you're interested in bidding, you stand in the circle. Okay, it's not like you put a thing up. You stand in the circle. Everybody's standing around the circle, and once you are interested in the property, you step into the circle. And if you're no longer interested, you step back out. So that's how that works. So you know, it was a few properties I liked. I stepped into the circle and I won. You know, a few properties, not one, but like I got the properties. So I was excited about that. Now with the judicial. With the judicial tax sale liens, there's a 60-day time frame for redemption. With the land bank authority liens, the ones that start at $3,000, it's about a year. Okay, so I'm just clearing this up for y'all because I was just confused. I'm like, why aren't there any clear-cut information about, you know, that? So there's a redemption period where someone can redeem the property and pay the stuff back with interest on top of that, and you get the extra money, and then, you know, they get the deed back, and then you got to go back out there and look for more properties once you get your money back. For, you know, the judicial REM tax sale, that's 60 days. For the land bank authority, that's a year. So once we got our, we waited. We did not go to the property before we got the deed in the mail. So we got the deed in the mail way after 60 days. I think it was like 3 to 4 weeks after 60 days. We did call to make sure that they, you know, what was going on, if anybody had redeemed the property yet, you know, things like that. Some of the properties on the judicial tax sale is land, and some of them are properties, like actual properties, like actual houses. So, you know, just make sure. And then with one of the houses that we were interested in, it's good that we went and drove by because they're still recently occupying it. They tagged it. They got it boarded up and living there with the little everything outside set up. And it was like, you know, a few other people out there, and these people will bid up to $100,000 for some of these houses. I don't have the cash. I ain't doing it. So now that I know what I know, I could do it now because I've become a little more educated on real estate and looked at all my options. But, you know, at that time, I didn't know any better. And I'm just thinking, like, you got to have that cash. So, okay. Once we got our deed, we went to the lots because we bought lots. We cleaned them up, spruced them up. We reached out to some companies to see if they do construction to perm loans because we wanted to build some out and rent them out. So that was for us the best option because we've been looking at properties the whole time we were here. We had our down payment ready. And like when we went to look at some of these houses, they were like in questionable neighborhoods. And they wanted like all this money for this property, and it like had foundation issues, water issues, permit issues. And like, we just was like, no, if we got to deal with all that, you might as well give it to us for like this much. Like, you're in a questionable area and you don't have permitting, and, you know, pipes are old and busted, and like the foundation is cracked up and the doors are not aligned on the wall, and we got to remove cars. And no, but they wanted a lot. So, you know, we was just like, forget it. Because, you know, the housing market is just so trash. People know they selling trash. They know that these houses aren't worth what they trying to get for it. And they refuse to come down on these prices. So at some point you got to be like, you know what? I'll do it myself. Okay. I'll choose another way to get this done. Cause I ain't got time to play games with y'all. I'm not about to buy trash for hundreds to thousands of dollars. I'm not doing it. If it's trash, don't try to sell premium price for trash. Okay. And Macon is not there yet. If I'm gonna keep it real, it's really not there yet. So when people be charging these high prices for these houses, like it's not there yet. It's getting there, but it's not there right now. Let me not go on a rant. Okay. Another option that we looked into was these DSCR loans, which are investor loans. They don't require, they require little documentation provided, but all you really need is like 20% down and a good credit score. And for a lot of these options, you need a good credit score. In my personal opinion, as an MLO, a licensed MLO, you need like a 720. You can have a 650, that's good, but if you want to be at your prime, 720. You want to get the best of the best deals, 720. 650 might get you some ways, but 720 is the precipice. That's the precipice. And 720 ain't even all that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like 720, most mortgage companies and most banks use that as a gauge for interest rate. You know, when they post interest rates and stuff, they usually use like 720 or 750 as a credit score. I compared those options to see what's worth it. Now, my personal opinion on the market out here, the housing market out here, and the real estate market out here, I think as a real estate agent, you'll make a decent amount of money, especially if you keep it in Macon, and possibly Warner Robins too. I'm not a real estate agent, so I don't know. But if you are a real estate agent and you have personal experiences in the Macon area, please comment below. Leave your information, you know, tell people who you are, leave your contact information and things like that. This is an area where, you know, we talk about business, we talk about moving, we talk about traveling, we talk about investing. So like, if you want to put that stuff down there, I don't care. I don't care if you solicit. Don't care. Just make sure you be respectful and have your stuff together. Do not put a bunch of comments of the same thing over and over and over again. Leave a nice comment. You know, welcome yourself, where you from, where you do work at, what type of real estate, what areas you serve. Keep it classy. Don't do all the extra stuff. Just keep it classy. Keep it simple. KISS. If you know what KISS is, then you know. If you know, you know. So it cost me to get the Land Bank Authority houses. It cost me somewhere around, because I think we got 3 of them, and it cost us, I want to say 15,000 to 20,000 altogether. Not bad. To get 3 lots. Was it worth it? Let me be transparent. I think 1 out of the 3, maybe 2 out of the 3, but definitely 1 out of the 3 we feel confident about. The other 2 is like, we could easily put them back on the market and just get our money back just for one that we paid for all 3. So that's not a big deal. It's just a lot, you know, not really a lot. I do, you know, but let me be honest. I like owning land more than I like owning homes. All you got to do is clean up. Make sure you get somebody to go out there and manage the whatever brush or trees are out there once a year. Fall back. You can gate it off if you want to. Fall back. Put a mailbox in the front if you want to, so you can get mail on those properties. Fall back. And then when the time comes to build on it, you could build from the ground up. A lot of these properties are blight homes, so a house was there, then they knocked it down. So the utilities are already running to some of these properties already. Cool, smooth, straight to the point. Okay, so they possibly, if the plumbing is not old, they possibly won't have to dig up everything down to the street to run it to the house. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but it's possible. So there's that. I do think it's worth it, because when you're first starting out in real estate, it's only but so much you can handle, and you want to keep your load low and build slowly to that point where you feel like you're ready for the volume. Because what a lot of people don't talk about on this app and on these platforms and the social media platform is how hard it is to be a real estate investor, developer, real estate owners and landlords and things like that. They don't talk about how hard it is. It's not easy. It is a job. It's a job. And if you don't treat it like that and you're not consistent, you may fail. A lot of people fail. So even if you do fail, get back up. Change what you did. Do something different. Do more research. Be prepared. Your losses is not a loss. It's just you just striked out. That's all. Take a step back. Learn from lessons learned. Learn from what happened, and then get back in the game. That's it. You messed up. It's okay. That's what I've learned. It's okay. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to hit a home run every single time. Nobody. Even the best of the best fall short sometimes. It's okay. You learn. It's a lesson learned. Move on. What we will do different next time. If we could do this all over again, like I said, lessons learned, we learned our lesson, we're moving forward. I don't regret anything. Let me just make that clear. I don't regret anything. I stand 100% behind all the investment decisions that I've made. We feel validated when we see certain things happening and we're like, yep, knew that was going to happen. We work together. I am the risk taker. I make the parts move. I pull the strings. My husband tells me, hey, wait, let's look at this. Let's look at that. He's the researcher. He's the reader. He looks into things. He looks into contracts. He reads word from word contracts. Okay. So we are a team, and you need a team. You're not gonna be able to do it by yourself. You need a team, but that's how we operate. I'm the let's go. And he's the hold on, let's look into this and see if we can do this. That's how we work. That's our dynamic. So the thing that we would do different next time, I'm gonna be honest. If we could do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have bought the lots. I would have took the money and put it towards our mortgage. Hindsight 2020. Yeah, because it's like I'm obsessed with like paying down a mortgage. I hate having a mortgage, especially when you get those assessments every year, those good old assessments. And there hasn't been any tornadoes or hurricanes down here. We haven't had any flash fires or freezes or anything. No major events that would compromise our home or our area. But for whatever reason, our insurance went up. Who could have predicted that? But yeah, I would prefer, if I had the option to do it all over again, I probably would have took the money from the sale that we made off the house, not bought any lots, paid down our mortgage, paid off all our debt, which our debt is paid off. So we did that already. But just pay down our mortgage and then saved up the money again to like go out there and get some houses. We really wanted to buy a house on a primary market, but I think the way we went about it was best. I think we learned a lot through our experiences. We learned about our options. We became more strategic. The more research we did, the more we started finding things. And as a mortgage loan originator, I've become hip to a lot of different ways you can finance property. And a lot of these don't listen to everybody online who say you don't need no money to like buy a house and you don't have to pay mortgage and you don't need a good credit score. Let me hold your hand when I say this. You're going to need money, even with a USDA loan. You're going to need money. You're going to need money. There's fees when you buy houses. Period. Just the title transfer alone costs money. So you're going to need money. And if I was you, I would want to be in a good financial situation as far as my credit score. Because what if you bought a property, you had bad credit, you bought a property, which happened to me. So I'm telling you this because it happened to me. I bought a house. I didn't have so good credit. My credit was like, ooh, it was struggle bus. It was real struggle bus. But I bought the property and I put the least amount of money down as possible. Now, when something needed to be fixed in the house, I couldn't apply for any credit cards. I couldn't take any money out my house to fix the issue. And we just had to make do until I can come up with the cash to get the issue fixed. Because when you initially buy a house, you got to pay to move the stuff there. And then it's so many expenses to buy a house. Okay, the no money down. You're going to need money to move your stuff, baby. You're going to need money. So don't let these people on the internet with all these quick videos about all these different loan options and how you don't need to have good credit and you don't need to have any money. You don't have to pay any mortgage. That is not real life. In real life, you're going to pay for something. Nothing is free. Nothing. Nobody sits around and fills out documents and shows you homes and just don't get paid for it. That's crazy. That's diabolical. So if you have more questions or you want more details on certain things I've discussed, post it below. If you go on my TikTok page, which is also Living with Lex, I talk about taxes as well because I do work for the Department of Treasury. So I have some inside information on that. I look at the Internal Revenue Code. That is the law, the federal tax law. Okay. And I see those things every day. I look at internal revenue manuals every day because I work every day. So if you want more information on that, I have a page for that. I don't quite talk about business taxes on there yet, but I will get to it because I am a business owner myself. So I will be putting stuff on there. I'm a business owner, independent contractor, and a W-2 earner. So I'm just trying to, all areas, I also want to talk about some remote jobs that I thought was pretty cool that I looked into. I'll do that on my next video. This is just about investments. But I will do another video very, very, very soon about jobs that are remote that pay pretty decent. So that when you decide, I want to live here, I want to live there, you can do it. And I'm always going to say this. If you are working a remote job, try to live as close to the headquarters or the place where they ask you to come into the office as close as possible. Because if for whatever reason they pull the rug, because a lot of haters out here saying they hate people who work remote. They just so hateful. I don't understand it. Shut up. We don't care that you don't like remote work. We don't care that you're praying to God that it goes away. We don't care about any of that. Some of us cannot afford to live in Manhattan. We can't afford to live in Atlanta. We can't afford to live in Charlotte. We can't afford to live in Dallas. We can't afford it. So the other option is that we move further out, get a remote job, do our job remote so that we can afford to live, pay bills, and work every day without feeling like we're in a complete rut. Stop being a hater. And if you find it so interesting or you're so mad, maybe you should try it. Don't complain about it until you try it. You might like it too. So that's it. And that's all I have to say for now. Like, comment, subscribe, ask your questions in the comments. I'll be back later. And yay, we hit 500 subscribers. Woo! Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I'm so happy about that. Thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you guys for engaging. I love talking to you guys. I like commenting back with you guys. I think it's fun to have a nice community of like-minded people talk about topics that we actually like. So holla at me. Okay, holla at your girl. Bye.